Don't get me wrong.
People of Yuma are good folks, and they deserve a lot better from the federal government than they have been getting. And whether or not they'll get it depends heavily on the House of Representatives, and particularly this group, and whether or not we will fight for them. We don't have a single Democrat that we could even convince to come to this briefing to get evidence from these experts.
And that is the new Attorney General, ladies and gentlemen.
You think we're going to get President Joe Biden and Chuck Schumer to pass legislation without a fight, without demanding that it go in must-pass bills, and we have to use every bit of leverage, or this is a deeply unserious exercise? Now, Dr. Trenchel, about 1 in 4 of the migrants who use birthing services at your hospital need neonatal intensive care unit services, NICU, right?
That is true, yes.
And that rate, 1 in 4, is way higher than with the non-migrant population, right?
Very much higher,
You got about 20 beds at any given time.
Correct.
And they fill up sometimes, don't they?
Yes,
and
they
so
do.
when you have those beds that are full up because of the pressure of these migrant communities, where do you have to send the residents of Yuma when they have a baby that needs NICU?
We would have to fly them to Phoenix or another venue.
And that's 170 miles away.
Yes, it is.
There are few prayers that I have ever seen more sincere and deeper than the prayers of parents when their little babies are at the NICU. And for all the folks on the left who want to lecture to us about how humane an open border is, there is nothing humane about putting a parent on a 170-mile journey when they need NICU services.
The fact that he's just saying, hey, why the heck do we normalize that if you have a baby in your city, we need to fly you out so far away? Whoa! 170 miles is even bigger than my own island where I'm from. But think about it. Imagine you had the baby and you're about to have the baby in your city, and they tell you in your city we're helping so many migrants. Well, actually illegal migrant, undocumented, whatever you want to call it, because the beds are filled. But we're going to send you as a special treatment 170 miles away to go have a baby.
A diverse and inclusive force is a war-fighting imperative. This is on a slide at the Air Force Academy. General Clark, do you agree with that statement?
I do agree with that statement, sir.
So, I mean, were the Mongols diverse?
Well, sir, I'm not really as versed on Mongol warfighting as I am on
the
U.S.
Vikings?
warfighting.
Were the Vikings diverse?
Again, sir, I'm looking at our country, the most diverse country in the world.
Sure, but this is about a war-fighting imperative. How about the force in Ukraine? Are the Ukrainians fighting the Russians a diverse force?
Sir, once again, my concern is the people that I'm charged to build into leaders.
Right, but you would acknowledge that throughout history, including present history, that statement hasn't borne true in every example, right?
Sir, what I would say is that those countries have to rely on the full force of their population to build a war-fighting force to win our wars, and that's why it's important for us to be diverse, because our nation...
So let's look at the population that actually makes up the fighting force frequently. Now, we have more men than women, right? 70-30-ish?
That's correct.
And of the men we have, most of them are not transgender men. Most of them are cisgender men, right?
Yes, sir.
But yet, at our academies, we push something called the Brooke Owens Fellowship. Are you familiar with that?
I am, yes, sir.
And in that fellowship, it specifically says, if you are a cisgender man, this program isn't for you. So you just said that your answer on why we do this full hug of these diversity concepts is because it's all about the fighting force that we draw from. But you're literally pushing a program in the academies that says if you're a cisgender woman, a transgender woman, a non-binary, agender, bigender, two-spirit, demigender. What's demigender? Well, sure, that's all of these people. You're a cisgender man. You don't even get to apply.
Well...
Do you know what demigender really means?
I'm not really sure, sir.
Right. So do you know what agender means? All one word, not a space gender, but agender.
Sir, I don't.
Right, so here we are pushing a fellowship, calling for people that you don't even know what the words mean, and the number one group of people, the cisgender men, are excluded. Now, in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, should we be pushing programs that we can't define that exclude the largest group of service members?
Your existence makes it possible that we can be diverse, but when we're going to represent diversity, the one that made it possible, kinda, 70% or whatever, I don't know, is not... I just think it's a wild analogy. But at the same time, people that might agree with this would say, we don't like conservative.
Conservatives have been disgusting for years, which is why I don't give a fuck about anybody that winds up at any of these rallies and gets shot or whatever the fuck, okay? Because they had no problem making fun of Paul Pelosi. The entire world would be better off if these people were permanently removed from these platforms. Like, there is no downside and only upside to see people like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool never be allowed to publicly broadcast their opinions ever again. It's exclusively bad stuff that happens.
It's rather interesting that you label conservative keep making fun of the people that you care about, but then you mention the most powerful people on the other side that never mention anything about Paul Pelosi, but you put them in the same group. I don't want you to stop having a voice. I want you to have a voice, so I know exactly who the heck is in front of me.
2 million encounters and releases under your watch. So not including the Title 42 expulsions, not including violent criminals. Of those 2 million plus that you've encountered and released, how many have you told to go home?
Congressman, individuals who are released are placed in immigration enforcement proceedings under the law where they can make their claim for relief. If their claim for relief is not satisfied, they are subject to removal from the United States.
Right, subject to removal sounds very different than actually removed. So I'm not interested in the process. I'm not interested in what people are subject to. 2 million people encountered and released. Not the expulsions under Title 42, not the criminals. How many of those people have you deported?
So, Congressman, a few points. Number one.
Just how many of the people? I just want to know how many. It's just a number.
Congressman, we are dealing with a completely broken immigration system.
I get it. No, Mr. Secretary, I'm not going to let you burn my 5 minutes. Do you know the answer? Do you know the number of people out of that 2 million that you've removed that aren't criminals?
I do know that we have removed more aggravated felons.
Right, I'm not asking about them. I've caveated that away, because here's what I'm sort of getting and what your non-responsiveness is demonstrating. The Mayorkas doctrine is this. If you show up at the border and get released into the country, if you don't commit a specific aggravated felony, I guess I'm just wondering, Mr. Attorney General, battery doesn't include a lot of bad domestic violence. But if you're not one of the people who commit those crimes, you get to stay forever. Has anyone at the department told President Biden to knock it off? With Hunter. I mean, you guys are charging Hunter Biden on some crimes, investigating him on others. You've got the president bringing Hunter Biden around to state dinners. Has anyone told him to knock it off?
Interesting that the future Attorney General is interviewing the current Attorney General that's just gonna get fired very soon.
Our job in the Justice Department is to pursue our cases without reference to what's happening in the outside world.
Just yes or no. Have you done that?
That is what we do.
So it's a no?
No one that I know of has spoken to the White House about the Hunter Biden case.
I'm wondering then.
Of course not.
Okay, I got it. So Hunter Biden is selling art to pay for his $15,000 a month rent in Malibu. How can you guarantee that the people buying that art aren't doing so to gain favor with the president?
The job of the Justice Department is to investigate criminal allegations. If you have information.
Are you investigating this? I mean, someone who bought Hunter Biden's art ended up with a prestigious appointment to a federal position. Doesn't it look weird that he's become this immediate success in the art world as his dad is president of the United States? Isn't that odd?
I'm not going to comment about any specific...
Not going to comment, not going to investigate.
He's eating these people alive, and he didn't have a lot of power, but now that he might be the Attorney General and he has the same questioning, maybe they can change a lot for the best for USA.
He is a learning organization. Haven't you learned yet that the military is weaker, not stronger, with the 8,600 people that you vax mandated out of the military?
Just one point, Congressman. The reason I'm here is because the chairman requested that I appear to talk about the circumstances surrounding my hospitalization.
But don't you see the hypocrisy in it? Because you screwed up, we fix your screw up, and now you want grace, but these people who sought religious exemptions, They got no such grace. And also, I just think it's ridiculous that we're in 3 wars. You went AWOL for 3 days, and we get 2 hours with you. If you can't spend more than 2 hours answering these questions, I don't know how you're really operating all these wars.
I mean, he's just calling it out. It's not that you're not allowed to have special treatment, but if he gets special treatment and not here, I like it that he calls it out, no matter if you're the left or the right.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde, kush hash, purple skunk, criollo, colombici, jam jam, durlo, que ta verde, ta welcome.